Is this too aggressive?
This person goes on to write, my husband and I ran into our first conversation about visitors at the hospital where his mother demanded that she be in there in the waiting room the moment we arrive at the hospital. We have decided, due to boundary issues on both sides, that we will not be having visitors until after we have our first night at home. This is the text I'm planning on sending to both families. As a major people pleaser, I struggle with setting boundaries and the thoughts of someone being angry at me or slash us. But for this, I feel like I had to be more aggressive than usual. I need opinions. Is this too aggressive? So they go on to write, hi, so before the baby comes, we are wanting to send out a few things so everyone is aware. These are set in stone and will not be changed for anyone. There are no exceptions to these rules, as this is our child and we are the parents. Husband and I will be the only ones there when she comes into this world. Number one, we will not be having any visitors at the hospital. You will not be allowed entrance into the labor ward without our permission, and the hospital staff is aware of these wishes. We have decided to take this time to bond with our baby, learn how to breastfeed, and recover following labor. This is a time that we do not want interrupted. 2. We will be taking time as a new family to learn the ropes the first few days following the baby being born. That means no visitors until we have had our first night home from the hospital. 3. We will have time limitations on visitors for the first few weeks. We are still learning. I will be healing both mentally and physically, and we will be bonding with our child. 4. When it comes to meet the baby, we ask for no one to kiss the baby. That means no kissing anywhere on the baby, even the top of the head, hands, etc. We also ask that you wash your hands before you get to touch her. 5. Do not share anything on social media or with other family members, aunts, uncles, cousins, siblings, friends, until we have done so ourselves. This is our news to share, not yours. 6. We know everyone is excited. However, the weeks prior to the baby's arrival, we ask that you not bombard us with constant texts looking for updates. This will also go for the day/weeks following her arrival. We will provide updates as needed. We would like to enjoy the last few weeks as just the two of us as much as possible, and the first week as a new family as much as possible. We appreciate all the love and support over the last several months, but we are asking that you respect boundaries we have put in place for the arrival of our little girl. As stated before, these are set in stone, and we will not be compromising. If you have a problem with any of these boundaries, we ask that you hold them in, as we are not taking suggestions or opinions. We know that this may upset some, but this is our first child, our first experience as a family. Who knows? Maybe with the second, things will be different, but this is what we have decided as a family prior to her arrival. Thank you for understanding and respecting our wishes. Thank you.
Hmm, interesting. Okay. I'd like to hear what your thoughts are on this text message, but I'll go first. I agree with her. Like, definitely wash your hands, no kissing. I agree with all that. We don't want people in the room with us um, while we have our first baby. And I don't know, I feel like the wording, though, I feel like maybe it's a little long. Maybe some of it is unnecessary. I think the part where she's explaining, like, um, if you're upset about this, I ask you to keep your opinions in. Like, I would just kind of leave that all out. There's some things that I would just take out and maybe edit a little bit. Um, I would just state like how it's going to go down, what the process is going to be like, and at the end of the day, you don't even have to tell them you're going into labor. Like you could just deal with this all the day after you have your baby. If it's like this is like a huge problem, um, there's that option. But I agree with everything she's saying. I would just maybe edit a little bit and just take a few things out.
And that's very interesting that they even I didn't even think about sending out a message to
Yeah.
everyone, kind of going over, because that's I feel like that's such a powerful tool in setting boundaries, is like addressing it before it happens, right? Because after they're already showing up at the hospital or showing up there or already posting pictures that you don't want posted, it can be a much different conversation than if you preemptively kind of tell them where you're coming from. So
Another reason why we also live like at least an hour from all of our families,
yeah.
because a lot of them aren't going to drive over an hour to come be with us. And I mean, even if they do, like, I understand like the message and wanting to be like on the same page as everyone. But in a way, I feel like you almost care too much about hurting their feelings. Like, it's just what it is. Like, everyone knows you don't kiss a baby. It's okay to let them know that. Definitely wash your hands, and it makes complete sense that you want to spend at least one night alone with just the baby. Like, all of that is very doable, but I just feel like there's too much. I don't know what the word would be. And there's just too much explanation. There's too much caring about what other people think in this message, and I don't think that's necessary.
Yeah. Do you think you'll send out a message to family about one, if you're going into labor, and two, like in a similar way, what you kind of expect from them?
Sure, yeah, I definitely am gonna probably send out text message and be like a group message and saying that we're going into labor. But again, we do live like an hour away, and if anyone were to like ask, like, and I've had like friends ask like, oh, do you want me to come wait in the waiting room? And I've just nicely said like, no, we're just gonna kind of do this on our own, and when we get home, we'll figure out, people coming to see her. But yeah, I can let them know. But if they ask, like, no.
What about like some of the stuff about like, how do you feel about them taking pictures and posting it online?
Yeah, again, that makes it's like common sense to not do that if the parents haven't done that first. But if you want to run that by them, like that, yeah, 100%, that makes sense. I think I'd probably announce that in person when they come and meet the baby. Just let them know, like, let us announce it first before you guys go and post all your, videos or photos. And then the day of too, like as they come into your house or before they come into your house, make sure that no one is like having like flu or cold symptoms, that everyone feels great. And then as they come into your house, you remind them no kissing the baby and to wash their hands before they hold the baby. So I feel like maybe it's just a lot at once to like put this all in a text message, and or maybe you could just kind of slowly walk them through the whole process without feeling aggressive.
I feel like the time limitations is a good one too, because people might not think about how long they spend, and just because they love you, it's your family, and time kind of flies by at times when you're with your family. So I could see it becoming just very draining if you have to spend like over an hour or multiple hours, pretty much like in hosting. Even if you're like in bed just holding a baby, you're still like entertaining in a way. And I could see like just preemptively kind of saying things. Honestly, the kissing the baby one's a big one for me, because out of all of them, that makes a lot of sense, because people naturally want to kiss babies. I get it,
Mm-hmm.
but if you're against it, then you should. I feel like that's a good one to put in there,
Mm-hmm. Also, a hack about the time limit thing. They said, studies have showed that if you have your visitors in your room while you're holding the baby and like sharing that experience with your family, they're less likely to hang out longer if they're in your bedroom compared to like your living room or outdoors or something.
Take it a step further, have them be in the bathroom with you. No, I'm just kidding. Anyways, let's see what this person says down below. I wouldn't even say the first night after you've been home. I would instead say that you will let them know when you're ready for visitors.
Mm-hmm.
You could be feeling great after birth, and you could not be. Better to give yourself the grace and time in case you need it.
Absolutely.
This person says, I'm a copywriter, so maybe I care more about tone and style than most, but personally, I would send a more subdued message to start.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This person said, I think all these boundaries are firm and understandable. The only part I'd be inclined to change is, this is our news to share, not yours. That does feel a bit like it stepped over the line from assertive to aggressive defensive. Maybe, please respect this is our news to share, or something similar. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that too. Did feel a little aggressive.
Yeah. Honestly, I think it's perfect. Very straightforward. Left no space for misinterpretation. Good job setting boundaries. Yeah, So are we going to send out a group one? Because you said yes, and then you said that you'll tell them before they came over.
I will send a group message out saying we're going into labor. And I don't think anyone would be like, I'm on my way, or can I come? But if they do, I would just let them know, like, you know, and I think they would, because we live like an hour away, which is like intentional. I feel like they would at least tell us, like, oh, what hospital are you at? Or like, can I come? And I would just tell them, like, no, we're going to do this on our own. And like they said, we'll let you know when we're ready for visitors. And then just slowly, like I mentioned before, just like as they come into your house, make sure they wash their hands. Before that, send another message, make sure no one has any like cold symptoms, and just remind them, no kissing the baby.
Even on the head and feet. I really like some of what they said in this. You know, I think even though it was a little, you know, aggressive, like this person just said, there's no room for misinterpretation, because people will like 100%, especially we live by the ocean, so like people come down here just to have a relaxing day away from the heat and stuff like that. So I could absolutely see them being like, oh yeah, let's go, you know, check out the new baby and then go have lunch afterwards on the wharf or something like that. So I definitely think that it's smart to be very clear and upfront with what you're wanting in this kind of situation, because if you're just like, no, everyone gets it, you know, everyone knows not to kiss the baby on the hands and head, like, no, like they're probably thinking don't kiss the baby on the mouth, you know, and like people will kiss, I mean, and it makes sense, kissing a baby on the forehead makes total sense, but at the same time I feel like I don't want people to do that, you know. So I think it's very smart to just be clear so there's no room for interpretation or misinterpretation. And I don't know. This is going to be a tricky one. I'm glad we read this one, though, honestly, because I didn't even think about sending out a group text. That's kind of genius, honestly, you know? And if you do it, because, like, if you wait until they come to your house, they might feel singled out.
But they might forget, too.
Yeah, no, maybe both, you know?
Like, if they come to your house, maybe they're going to come as, like, pairs or groups, and then you just let them all know, like, all right, everyone wash your hands, you know, before we go see the baby, and remind them, no kissing.
I'll be out front, laminated little like memos to hand out to people with the rules about hand sanitizer, give them all the stuff. Anyways, let us know in the comments below. Did you send out a message before you had your first child or second child, or before you went into labor? And did your family respect those boundaries? Is there any tips you could share with other people going through this situation? Because honestly, it would be very appreciated.
Yes, thanks for joining us on our journey, and we'll see you in the next video.